What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon MLB DFS video. It is Sunday. It is August 13th, and we are back. We are breaking down today's slate. So we're going to take a look at the main slate and then the afternoon slate. So we're going to look at them all. We're going to look at the pitching. We're going to look at the bats. If you've never been here before, welcome. Hopefully you learned something. If you do, hit that like button so we know that you guys enjoy what you see. If you've been here before, welcome back. So real quick, anytime a video gets at least 50 likes and you leave a comment and you're a subscriber to the channel, you have a chance to win a free week of MLB or just DFS content in general. If the video gets at least 100 likes, you have a chance to win a month pass, including every sport that we offer. If a video gets 125 likes, you have a chance to win a free year. And if a video gets, any video at all, gets 150 likes, you follow the exact same rules, you have a chance to win a lifetime pass. Another way to win a lifetime pass, once we hit that 10,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, then we will also have a chance to give away a lifetime pass. And I know we can do it. We're very close. So let's enjoy this slate. Let's take a look at everything. We're going to, first off, take a look at who wins. So yesterday's video ended up getting 900 views and 87 likes. I know we can get 100 on this video, but let's check it out. Here will be the winner of the free week of DFS content. And by free week, I mean it includes a week of MLB, MMA, NASCAR, NFL, and PGA. And once NFL starts, that'll be in there. So let's check out who won for yesterday's video, and the winner is Chops. So congratulations, Chops. Please, I know you've got an account, just like this and let me know you saw it, and then email me or hit me up on Twitter at advisors_team or dfshelp1@gmail.com, and we'll get you set up. And if anyone's new, you can win every single day. You have a chance. Chops, if he watches tomorrow and leaves a video or leaves a comment on this video, he has a chance to win yet again. And again, everyone can do it every single day. So again, congratulations to Chops. So we've got the early game for the Peacock game of the week or whatever they call it now. And then you can only do solo game because you're not playing an all-day slate here. But we'll look at it real quick. We'll just glance over. So Erod versus Cutter Crawford probably wouldn't be using any, most likely wouldn't be using any pitching in this one. I'm looking at bats for Detroit. I'm probably looking at Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, be the two that I'd really look at. And then Boston bats against Erod, his old team. Probably, and it's Fenway, and with the Fenway being a batter's ballpark, specifically today with the wind blowing out, probably be looking at Tristan Casas, Jaron Duran, Rob Ref Snyder would be a cheap option if he's batting, and those would probably be it. You kind of got to wait for the lineups to come out if you're playing the solo single game. The problem is you got to get really creative to try and take something like that down. So you got to find those players that, might be playing on a Sunday because they don't normally play. So we'll kind of wait this one off. We'll go to the main slate right here. And if anyone has questions, we have a ton of information on the website. So if you go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, you can sign up to FTA Plus, $24.99 for a month, which includes sports betting, or you can use the promo code NFLVIP, and that'll get you $100 off the yearly pass. You get it for $99 for an entire year of all of these sports. So under the MLB, you could check out our player projections. So at the end of this video, or towards the end of this video, we do simulations. So we take the ballpark factors, we take the projected lineups, we take historical matchups, all of that information. We throw it into simulation. We simulate it a total of 10,000 times. At the beginning of this video, we will have simulated it. Well, right before I started this video, I simulated it 2,000 times. So towards the end of the video, I'm going to give out the top 10 pitching and top 10 bats that 2,000 simulations have done. about an hour before first pitch of the main slate, so about 11 a.m. Central, I will be doing it. We'll have simulated 10,000 times, and those will be the final players. Those will be put in the player projections. We have the batter splits, which we go over in this video. BVP, if you like it. Not a lot of people do, but we have it in there anyway. Stolen base targets, contrarian stacks, so on and so forth down the list. So a lot of this is free information, but some of it is FTA Plus, so definitely get in there and check it out. And we'll go over the main slate. So, first game on the main slate, Athletics at the Nationals. You got Ken Waldichuk versus Trevor Williams. So we do have some good pitching, and then we've got some, middle-of-the-road pitching. Waldichuk's all the way down here at the bottom against Washington. Had a pretty good game against Texas. We actually used him in a tournament against Texas. It worked out. 2 earned runs against Texas, which pretty hard to do against that team. 7 Ks for 19.3 at 5,400. He is still 5,400, and he has a better matchup against Washington than he did versus Texas. So we look at the splits. He hasn't faced Texas this year. In fact, he's faced only 12 plate appearances here, where Trevor Williams has only faced 7 of the Oakland bats. So we look at this game. He's on the road. On the road, he's got a worse ERA just because this, the home ballpark is a pitcher's park. Averaging 5 fantasy points per game on the road, which not the best, obviously. At 5,400, though, I could throw him in a tournament because he is so cheap that it wouldn't hurt me too bad. But we can look at it definitely. We'll look at that. We'll dig into the numbers just a little bit more for Washington bats. And then Trevor Williams, same thing. He has a good matchup here against Oakland. He hasn't really done much. That's the problem. His last, 4 games hasn't been good. Then he had a little bit of good game against St. Louis. Then less than double digits here. It's been very up and down this season. He's got a 5 ERA, 5.7 record, 86 Ks. Splits-wise, again, hasn't faced Oakland this year, barely faced any of the batters. Home games, he's a little bit better at home, but it's still a 4.38 ERA at home. That's not ideal. But it is Oakland. That's the thing. It is Oakland. Whether or not you want to throw him in a tournament because of how bad Oakland is, I don't mind that, but don't expect a ton out of him. So then we can let's take a look at the batter splits. So we'll take a look at Oakland bats versus right-handed pitching. As you can see, Seth Brown is at the very top here. So Oakland bats against right-handed pitching. So you can see while I'm making this video, someone's already doing what I'm doing. One of you guys are already here doing exactly what we're doing. So we'll just look at this, and you can come in and you can sort it however you want. The bats that have had success, or these are how people, right-handed pitchers, Seth Brown, I would use, 242 batting average. Not a ton of green, but not a ton of red either. Ryan Noda is another one. Got a 374 OBP. Brent Rooker, I believe, had a home run yesterday. We could look at that. JJ Bleday, a very cheap option for you. I wouldn't use Tony Kemp. Ruiz, if he gets on, he's going to get you 1 or a couple of stolen bases a day. Those are your fantasy points there. So I don't mind those bats for Oakland there. And then if we look at left-handed pitching, let's take a look at left-handed pitching for Washington. Someone's doing it again. So that's what I'm saying, guys. These are free tools. Go check them out, FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. You can do exactly what we're doing here, but you can do it all day to build your lineups, and that's exactly what people are doing. Fantastic ways to support the channel. Go to our website and use our tools, so we can show that we have views and stats that you guys are coming to the channel. Another way to do it, click the ads on the website, click the ads on these videos, watch them. That helps us out tremendously. And if anyone here has any product you'd like to try and have as a sponsor on here, hit us up, dfshelp1@gmail.com, or Twitter @advisors_team, and we can do a partnership with a sponsorship. We do that all the time, and we're looking for new partners. So if anyone has any, a website that's obviously not adult themed, or you have a product you guys want to try and be a sponsor for, let us know. We'll get you. We'll see what we can do. So if you aren't looking at Waldichuk and you are looking at Washington bats, Stone Garrett would be a very cheap option. Lane Thomas against lefties, 397 batting average, 619 slugging, 1,000 OPS. Lane Thomas would be your number 1 bat there. C.J. Abrams, I don't mind. Keibert Ruiz, I don't mind. I believe he also had a home run on Saturday. Alex Call is a cheaper option. Candelario obviously gone. Those would Vargas maybe I would use if he's playing. He's got some good green numbers there. Don't mind him. He's got an 840 OPS as well. So those would be the bats that I would use. I would throw these two guys in tournaments. That's probably it though. Obviously you're not trusting them in cash. Next game, Reds at the Pirates. You got Brandon Williamson versus Mitch Keller. So this game was postponed from yesterday. Let's see if this is in here. Yeah, so this game you can't play. This game's not an option. It's not on the slate. So we're going to remove this game. We're going to look at this game. Luke Weaver versus Andre Jackson. Let's see if they're in there. So this game's not even on here. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, 5,600. So he's right down at the bottom. So Luke Weaver against the Pirates, 22 plate appearances, 190 batting average. We have actually stacked bats against Luke Weaver all season, and it's worked out very, very well. So if you look at it, the reason it's worked out well, he's got a 6.75 ERA. His last game, 4.1 innings, 1 run, 6 Ks. Had a good game. That was against Miami, 16.2. Other than that, he's been very hittable, pretty much by every single team since the Cardinals, who are struggling back on May 25th. So we look at this splits-wise. He has faced Pittsburgh once this year. One start, got the loss, 6 innings, 4 earned runs. Did have 8 Ks, though. Still 17.9 fantasy points. Because Pittsburgh has been so bad, Cincy should, I put this in, stress this, he should get run support from Cincy against Pirates, but we don't know. That game against the Pirates, let's see, was it at home or was it in Pittsburgh? It was, okay, it was his first start of the season at Pittsburgh. So he's back at Pittsburgh. Does have a little bit better ERA on the road, but it's 6.11 still, so it's a very high ERA. On the road, a couple less Ks, double the walks, less home runs, a couple more earned runs. So this is one where it could go either way. He's had success against this team before. This team has struggled before, and he's 5,600, so you could throw him in a tournament. But at the same time, he has struggled in so many games, it's really hard to trust him enough. Will I throw him in a tournament? Yeah, I'd throw him in a tournament. Do I trust him enough? Absolutely not. I don't trust him. The weather shouldn't play a factor. It's Pittsburgh, so we look at this. Weather, we should not have any trouble with weather here. Trying to see if anything... So the wind is blowing out to the left, but it's not a huge ballpark factor for home runs today. The ball should stay in the ballpark for the most part, considering there's not much wind. It is blown out. It's not too humid, so we should be good there. Unlike Boston has a massive chance for a ton of runs there. So looking at this, Luke Weaver, okay, I'll take a little bit of exposure. Then Andre Jackson, I'm pretty sure Andre Jackson used to be on the Cubs. Is he not even here? Andre Jackson, he was scheduled to start on Saturday, so they're thinking he's going to start here. Game logs, he's only going 2 to 3 innings, so you're not going to take anything. He's not going to get you much. So these numbers don't mean anything because he comes out of the bullpen. So pretty much probably an opener. I doubt you're going to get 5 innings, enough to qualify for a win. So we're probably just going to avoid Andre Jackson. 4,000, maybe throw him in there if you want, but 2 to 3 innings is not going to be enough, especially at his price. 4,000, where you could pay up 1,000 more for somebody else, probably avoiding him. So let's take a look at both the Reds and the Pirates against right-handed pitching. So we look at this. Obviously, Fraley's on the IL, which he would be in a good spot. Sawinski, I don't mind Sawinski here. He's walking at a good rate, but you're not going to get fantasy points unless he steals bases if all he does is walk. But he's got some good numbers there. Spencer Steer is up in the air there, 255 batting average. I don't mind him. TJ Friedel's got some good green numbers here, not red or yellow. Ellie De La Cruz is so expensive, and like, he's so expensive for his production lately, so I don't know. If he gets on, he could steal bases for you too. Could hit home runs as well against Luke Weaver or against Andre Jackson and or whoever the bullpen is. Will Benson, I like Will Benson. He's got a ton of great numbers here. Kutch got some good OBP. Brian Hayes, I don't mind. He got us a ton of points the other day. I want to say like Wednesday or Thursday we used him. Brian Reynolds, I'm okay with. Marcano's out for the year. McLean, I'm okay with. Probably those bats that I'd use. Not a ton of the bats that I like in this matchup, though. I'd use Weaver in, like, if you want to go contrarian tournaments, I don't mind Weaver. Other than that, I'm not using Jackson, and we don't know who the bullpen will be, so it's pretty much going to be a bullpen game there. Twins at the Phillies is next. We just saw Minnesota decimate the Phillies on Saturday. You got Sonny Gray versus Ranger Suarez. Gray, 90 plate appearances, 266 against them. Suarez, 18 plate appearances, 200 batting average against him. So look at Sonny Gray's numbers. Game logs had a couple of good starts in a row. I mean, it's against Detroit and St. Louis, so should be good starts. 10 strikeouts there, 8 strikeouts there. Splits-wise, he hasn't faced Philly this year. He's on the road. He's just a little bit worse at 334 average here. About the same amount of Ks. You're expecting that. 25 walks compared to 19 there. So you're looking at that. We dig in here. Weather-wise, we should be good weather-wise. Sunny, nothing going on there. It's going to be hot. The wind is blowing from left to right. It is a plus matchup for home runs. Some extra base hits here. So that is something to look at. You got Ranger Suarez at the same time on the opposite side. Game log wise, okay. At his price, he has dropped in price a little bit. Not the fantasy points you would like. You would like to see 18 plus. Splits wise, hasn't faced Minnesota this year. Home games, he is worse at home. In 8 starts. He does have more Ks, but he's got more walks, more home runs, more earned runs, more runs, less hits allowed. So he almost double his ERA at home than he is on the road in the same amount of starts. So Minnesota has been hitting the ball pretty damn well lately. So we can take a look. Let's look at Minnesota bats against left-handed pitching. See if anyone jumps out right now at the moment. Carlos Correa, I believe, had a home run yesterday. He's kind of coming along. Still, not 100%, but I'd use Correa. Ryan Jeffers against the lefty. I'm all in on Ryan Jeffers against the lefty anytime I can get it. Michael Taylor, I would also look at there. I know Joey Gallo had a home run yesterday, but he is very up and down, lefty on lefty matchup. I do not like that. And it really just depends on the lineup that Minnesota throws out there on Sundays. The problem is the catcher position is usually the one that rests on Sunday. Jeffers might be out. That would be the problem that I'd look at. So if Jeffers is in, I do love him. I would take Jeffers, Correa, Donovan Solano I would also take. I think those are going to be cheap stacks against Ranger Suarez and the Phillies. And then we can look at the Phillies bats against right-handed pitching. Bryce Harper, he had back spasms on Thursday or Friday, so that's something to monitor. If he's in, I would use him. He's got some great numbers there if he's in. Schwarber's only batting 180 against righties. I would still use him, especially with the ballpark being a home run option here. Does have a 189 BABIP against righties, which is crazy, but I would use him. I would use Castellanos here. I would use Bryson Stott. Trey Turner's been absolutely on fire. I would use Alec Boehm as well. So I don't think I'm going to be using Sonny Gray in cash. I would throw Sonny Gray in tournaments, but I would look at some Phillies bats there as well. Probably not using Suarez at all. Moving to the next game, you got the Cubs at the Blue Jays. You got Jameson Taillon versus Ryu. Now, Taillon is a tale of two pitchers this season, and we're going to dig into the numbers. So Taillon, 151 plate appearances against Toronto, which is a lot. Obviously, he faced him a ton when he was with the Yankees. 21.9 K percentage, 229 batting average. Then we got Ryu, only faced 14 Cubs, 143 batting average. So, digging in here, I believe weather shouldn't be an option. It is a dome. We look at Taillon's numbers, game logs. Had a really good game against the Mets. 7 innings in that game, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks. Against Cincy, had a pretty good game at 6,200. Only went 5 innings in that one, but only gave up 2 earned runs with 5 Ks. St. Louis, good game. St. Louis again, a good game. And then Washington, not so good. So his last 4 have been pretty decent. Splits-wise, hasn't faced Toronto this year. He's on the road. On the road, he has a better ERA at 4.02. Overall, he has a 5.17 ERA. So he's given up runs. We've seen that. But on the road, he's been better. Less Ks, though. A couple more walks, but less home runs, less earned runs, less runs total, and over half of the hits allowed. So he's been better on the road. I think this is a play with the other stud pitchers on the roster. We could use him. Toronto's been striking out a ton against right-handed pitching. That's the key. I think people are going to see it's Taillon, see his ERA, and be concerned about it. I think he could be a sneakier, cheaper-ish option at 7,200 against a team that's been striking out a ton against righties. And then Ryu, on the other hand, this will be his 4th start? No, this is his 3rd start of the year off the IL. Not so good. 4 innings, 5 innings. Hasn't done much. 4 ERA, only 5 strikeouts in 2 games, which is not good. 1-1 home and away, so these numbers don't really mean anything. He has been hit at home. I would definitely, if I'm taking pitching, I'm looking at Taillon in this game, and I'm probably taking the Cubs bats against Ryu. So let's take a look at the Cubs bats against lefties here. So we look at this. Patrick Wisdom's only a tournament option. He's really only good to hit a home run. Other than that, he doesn't bring much to the table. Mancini's gone. Yan Gomes, again, it'll just depend on what catcher is in because Sundays are when they rest. Yan Gomes would be an option. Cody Bellinger, even against lefty-on-lefty matchup, 345 batting average, 407 OBP, 609 slugging, 1,000 OPS. I absolutely love it's Cody Bellinger resurgence season. We say it every time, and he hits a home run almost every time I say that. So I like him. Christopher Morel, I would look at. Nico Horner, I would look at. Dansby Swanson, another home run yesterday. I would look at him. I would also look at Ian Happ. So I am all in on a Cubs stack. I don't think I want much to do with Blue Jays, but we'll look real quick at Blue Jays. Blue Jays bats against Taillon and right-handed pitching. And like I said, they are striking out a ton against righties. Kevin Biggio has a 27% K percentage. Springer, 18. Jansen, 22. Brandon Belt, 35. Matt Chapman, 29%. Varsho, 25%. Merrifield, 18%. Guerrero, 16%. So there's not a ton. Bichette, obviously, is out. He was the best hitter on the team. He's out. He's on the IL. Wouldn't use Biggio. Maybe Springer. Danny Jansen's been on fire, but he's been day-to-day. So watch if he's still day-to-day. Brandon Belt's striking out a ton against righties. Guerrero, batting 255, 320. Not a ton there. Yeah, Whit Merrifield would be a good option at 296 average there. Chapman would be an option, but he's striking out a ton there too. So I honestly think this will be a sneakier option. Again, what I tell you is I'm just trying to help you become a better DFS player. If you need a little bit more help, you can always sign up to FTA Plus, but this is my thought process. This is how I build my lineups. This is how we've been doing it for 9 years. We've been around for 9 years, so we know what we're doing. This would be one where the Cubs bats are very crazy. They're either really on or they're absolutely off. I don't think Ryu has a good game here, but we know that he's been a stud in the past. So that is where it's like, which Ryu are we going to get? So this 3rd start of the season, he's really not stretched out, hasn't pitched that much at all. The Cubs have been hitting lefties well, so that's why I'm looking at Taillon and the Cubs bats. Next game, Guardians at the Rays. Tanner Bibby versus Zach Eflin. Bibby's never faced them before. Eflin, 5 plate appearances. So not much going on. We look at Bibby on the road against Tampa Bay. Had a really good game against Toronto. Like I said, right, Toronto's been terrible against righties. 7 innings there, 6 Ks, 27.6. He's actually dropped down from 9,500. He's dropped out 1,000 since this week. Looking at his splits, home games, he is better at home. Now he's on the road. It's Tropicana Field, so it's not the best hitter's park. So it is a pitcher's park, but on the road, he's got a 4.25. That's in the same amount of games as he's pitched at home. Tampa Bay's been up and down this year. They were the best team in baseball for the first 2 months, kind of like the Pirates were really good. Then they've come back down to earth. I don't know which Tampa Bay team we're going to get. They obviously won the game on a walk-off yesterday. But that being said, Tanner Bibby could be a sneaky option here. And then Zach Eflin, he's very expensive. Third highest on the slate. Game logs, he's had 2 really good games in a row against St. Louis and against New York. Striking out 8 and 5 there. Splits-wise, hasn't faced Cleveland. Home games, he's 2.49 ERA, so he is better at home. And Cleveland's up and down. Don't know which Cleveland team you're going to get. Don't know who's going to be on the team enough that you're going to get it. So Jose Ramirez, the big one, he started his suspension yesterday. He's a big bat out of the lineup there. So let's take a look at both Guardians in Tampa Bay against right-handed pitching. Andres Jimenez batting 235. I mean, Yandy Diaz, who screwed us more times than he's not, got great numbers. 324 batting average against righties, 407 OBP. He would be one that I'd use. Ramirez would have been one that I used, but he is suspended. Naylor's on the IL. Luke Raley. I like Luke Raley here. A lot of green there. Paredes here. I don't mind Paredes. Josh Bell's gone. Brandon Lau. I'll use Brandon Lau. Randy Arozarena. I'd use Randy for Tampa Bay. Will Brennan, if he's at the top of the lineup, I like him a little bit more. Josh Lowe. I'd use Josh Lowe. And I'd use both Quan and Franco in this game. So I don't know if I'll be using much pitching here, but if I do, it's probably going to be Eflin against Bibby. Just has better numbers at home, better matchup against the Guardians since Jose Ramirez is out. Next game, Yankees at the Marlins. You got Garrett Cole, the front runner for the Cy Young right now, versus Yuri Perez. He's got a good matchup. I love Garrett Cole here. He's the picture of this video for a reason. He is a stud. So we look at Garrett Cole. He's, I believe, the number 1 pitcher on the slate, price-wise, at $11,500. Game logs, not a good game against Chicago. 7 innings there, 4 earned runs, 3K. So probably his worst start of the year. Or at least since Tampa Bay, where he gave up 6 runs, 5 of them earned. Splits-wise, obviously hasn't faced Miami this year, but in his career, 85 plate appearances, 156 against them. Away games, he's actually better on the road. 10 less earned runs. It has 4 less starts, though, so we know what we're getting out of him. We do know what we're getting out of Garrett Cole here. Weather, not a factor. It is a dome, which it's a retractable roof, and I've been told that they don't open the roof, which is crazy. It's crazy to think that these teams spend all this money on retractable roofs and then they don't even utilize them at all. So I do believe that he has the best matchup on paper today against Yuri Perez. So I'm all in on Garrett Cole. I'm not looking at any of the Marlins bats. There's no reason. And then we look at Yuri Perez. Now, I've loved Yuri Perez all year. We've used him. Then he got sent down. And now we look at that. And there he is, Yuri Perez. Comes in, 2.79 ERA. Game logs, not that good a game against Cincy. Went 4.2 innings, 4 earned runs, 7 Ks. He's getting Ks here, though. And Yankees can strike out a ton. That's the thing. Pittsburgh, Toronto, 9.99. Like, you can see that. Home games, got a 1.10 ERA, so he's better at home. Depending on the lineup that comes out, this could be like a 1-0 game. I like both of these pitchers. I think Garrett Cole's more of your cash option. I think Yuri is more of your big tournament play here. Especially at 8,600. In that same price range, I would use him over Mitch Keller. I would use him over Bibby. I'd probably use him over Gray. I'd probably use him over Dylan Cease in that same kind of price range right there. So that's what I would look at. I would look at Garrett Cole for cash. I would look at Perez for tournaments. If I'm taking any bats, it would be the Yankees bats, and it depends on who it is. But if Jake Bauers is leading off, I would take Jake Bauers. I would take Judge. I would take Harrison Bader. I would take IKF. Maybe Oswaldo Cabrera, if he's in there, you could be looking at, or Stanton back home at Stanton. I would look at Stanton as well. So I'm not looking at any Marlins bats against Garrett Cole. Then we got the Angels at the Astros. You got Chase Silseth versus Jose Urquidy. Silseth 8 plate appearances, so hasn't seen him much. Urquidy 59 plate appearances, 211 against him. We did stack against Urquidy last time, and it backfired because we thought the Yankees would actually be able to do anything, which was silly of me. So looking at this, Silseth is 6,000. Game log coming off a fantastic game against Seattle. 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 12 Ks. Didn't do much against Atlanta, and then against the Yankees, 5.2 innings, 10 Ks in that one as well. So he's got double-digit Ks possibility here. It is going up against Houston, though, so that's something. He's on the road. He's got a worse ERA on the road in 2 games started. So he's only started 4 total games. So these numbers are a little bit skewed because a lot of them are out of the bullpen. At a glance, I do like him at 6,000. I think he'll be, if you want to get contrarian today and you want to do tournaments and you want to try and be above the pack, I think Silseth at his price will be a cheaper option because a lot of people are going to be all over the Astros. And there's a reason the Astros are a good team, obviously. And then you got Urquidy here. Coming off his game against the Yankees. Actually, he didn't do good. So we did stack. That is right. We stacked him against we stacked the Yankees against him because he hadn't pitched in 4 months or 3.5 months. 3.1 innings, 5 earned runs, 1K, minus 4.1. The Angels, it's the Angels, though. That's why I don't know if he's going to go deep into games. Don't know if he's going to get 5 innings, or they're just trying to get 4 innings out of him and then come with the bullpen. Splits-wise, the numbers are going to be skewed because they're 3 starts at home, and it's been so long. So looking at this, we can dig in. Let's take a look at both the Angels and the Astros against right-handed pitching. Obviously, Ohtani, he's going to be your number 1 bat pretty much every single day almost. 320, so much green. So much green there. Trout's obviously out. McCormick, I'd look at McCormick here. Kyle Tucker's been on an absolute tear lately. I would look at him. Gio's out for the year. Bregman, I don't mind Bregman. He's got a lot of green there too. Drury would be a cheaper option for you. Jose Abreu's on the IL. Diaz, if he starts, I really like Diaz here. But again, it's catchers, so it might be Maldonado instead of him. I wouldn't use Maldonado, but if Diaz is in, I would use Diaz against Silseth. Jordan has some great numbers, a lot of green there against righties. I would look at. Wouldn't look at that's so much red. Might be the most red on any batter all day. Mickey Moniak, a lot of green there. Jose Altuve, a lot of green there as well. Those would be the ones that I'd use. I will have a little bit of exposure to Silseth just because I think he'll be very low owned. And this is a day where I'm probably going to play like 20 to 25 lineups, get my player pool out there. Silseth will be in my player pool for pitching. Not going to use Urquidy, but I would use the bats that we just covered. Next game, Brewers at the White Sox. You got Freddie Peralta versus Dylan Cease. This could be a very low-scoring game. Very excited about this matchup. Might be the second best matchup. Peralta is the second best matchup of the day. So we look at him. He's the second highest priced pitcher. Game logs or splits, hasn't faced the White Sox this year. Game logs, an amazing game against Colorado. We used him in that game. 7 innings, 13 Ks. We used him against Colorado because it is a fantastic matchup at home for him. Absolutely love that. So has some really good games here. Not a good game against Atlanta. Atlanta's bats are obviously really good. They're way better than Chicago. Looking at his splits, home games, 3.79 ERA. Away games, Peralta is a little bit worse, 4.97 ERA and 4 less starts, 21 less innings. Giving up less home runs, less Ks here, but there's a reason. He's four less games is going to do that to you. So at a glance, I do like Freddie Peralta here. He's got a good matchup against the White Sox. Then if we look, Dylan Cease, he just throws a ton of pitches. Against the Yankees, 23.2, 5.1 innings. The thing is, so I've never really watched like Dylan Cease outside of games against the Yankees, but he throws the knuckle curve a ton. He hangs a ton of balls. Absolutely hangs them in the top of the zone. Either they're called high strikes or they're way out of there. But if someone turns on that, like any of the Milwaukee bats turn on it, these balls could absolutely soar. He just hangs them so much. So if you can find batters that are really good against righties, we could be in store here. Splits-wise, home games, 3.92 ERA, so he is still at home. Trying to see if this ballpark, how the wind's doing in Chicago. Let's see. Yeah, the wind's blowing from left to right. It's kind of hot and humid. It's got one of the best bumps for home runs in this game. I honestly don't know if I'll use Dylan Cease. So let's take a look at both Chicago White Sox and Milwaukee against righties. Christian Yelich is going to be at the top. He's got a lot of numbers there. I wouldn't be surprised if Yelich, if he gets a hold of a high hanger, it's gone. He's absolutely hitting a home run today, I bet. Luis Robert, he would be an option against Peralta. Eloy would be an option. Yelich is probably my number one option of all of the players on both of these teams. Moncada would be a very contrarian tournament option, I think. Willie Adames, I'd probably avoid. Weimer, I'd probably avoid. William Contreras is always an option against whoever he's facing. Benintendi's a tournament option. I don't mind him. Bryce Terang, very cheap option I would take. Maybe that would probably be it. Those would probably be the bats that I'd use. But I do like both. I do like Freddie Peralta here. I don't know if I'm going to be using Cease. I think a sneakier stack might be Milwaukee against Cease, just based on watching him and how much the ball hangs up there. He's walking a lot. He's, how many walks did he have in that game? I want to say he walked he walked 7 Yankees batters in that game. 7. Ended up getting the W, yes, but he was walking a ton. The Yankees are just not good with runners. They're just not good this year. So he walks a ton in that game. Still got 23.2, though, which is crazy. It could come back to bite him pretty hard. Then we got the Yankees at the Giants. Got Dane Dunning versus Logan Webb. Dane Dunning's never faced him before. Logan Webb, 34 plate appearances, 194 batting average. So looking at these here, let's see, is this game not on here? Okay, so we're into the afternoon slate here. You got Dane Dunning, game log. We used him against Oakland. Should have been better. Oakland's obviously a very bad team. We saw him 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks, 14.7. Had a really good game against the White Sox, his former team. Had 11 Ks in that game. Splits-wise, obviously he's never faced San Francisco, so he hasn't faced them this year. Away games, 319, so he's a little bit better away. And this is San Francisco, which is a pitcher's park. So all of these numbers are lining up for Dane Dunning to have a decent game. But we don't know if he's going to, so we'll dig into the numbers a little bit. Versus Logan Webb, probably at the top. Logan Webb here, 9,800. Game logs are... Yeah, so his game logs, 18.6, 22.8, 14.9. So up and down here, especially at those prices. Splits-wise, home games, he is better at home. Again, it's a pitcher's park. He's going up against Texas, which is a good team. So this is one where I don't know if I want to pay 9,800 if I'm playing this afternoon slate. I don't know if I want to pay up that much against Texas. I'd rather probably take Dane Dunning at 7,300. So looking at that, let's take a look at both Texas and San Francisco against right-handed pitching. Looking at San Francisco bats, maybe Lamont Wade Jr. against Dunning. Jock Peterson, I would look at. Patrick Bailey, but I don't know if he'll start. Conforto, I would look at there. So, I'm probably not going to have very many San Francisco bats. If I have any at all, I will have Dane Dunning in tournaments, but I'd rather have Texas bats. I mean, we used Corey Seager yesterday. He had a home run the first inning. Now, he's got some fantastic numbers. So much green. Corey Seager's going to be in your lineup almost every single day if he's in there. I would definitely look at him. I would look at Nate Lowe. I love Nate Lowe here. I would look at Adolis Garcia. I would look at Jankowski if he's in. This will be a tournament option. I don't know if he'll be in, though. I would also look at Marcus Semien. And maybe a little bit of Robbie Grossman, depending on where he is in the lineup if he starts. It'd be a tournament, though, because he's 195 batting average against righties. So he's better against lefties than righties, but he is a switch hitter, so you could use that there. So those would be what I look at. Maybe Wilmer Flores here too against Dunning if you're not taking Dunning. That would be my thought process in this. I do like myself a little bit of Dane Dunning for tournaments. I'm not going to use Logan Webb for his price because I just like Texas bats a little bit too much over him. Next game, Rockies at the Dodgers. Kyle Freeland versus Julio Urias. Battle of the lefties here. We look at Urias against Colorado. Game logs, we used him against Arizona. Good option there. 6 innings, 5 Ks, no earned runs. Has back-to-back games with no earned runs, back-to-back 20-plus outings there. He's 9,400. He has a good matchup against Colorado. In his overall 108 plate appearances, 216 batting average. Where Freeland's faced 253 plate appearances, 244 batting average out of there. Looking at Urias, he's faced Colorado once this year, went 6 innings, 5 hits allowed, no earned runs, 26.5 fantasy points. I want to see if that was in Colorado or at home. That was at home. So now he's back at home. Like this matchup for him. Splits-wise, home, he's way better at home. 8 games started there. Less hits allowed, 20 less runs. So yeah, Urias, 9,400. I'd rather pay 9,400 for Urias than 9,800 for Webb. He just has a better matchup and has had better control and success against Colorado overall. Then we take a look at Freeland against the Dodgers. I'm out. Game logs, he's faced him once this year. 5 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, 10.8 ERA. I'm looking 100% at Urias, and I'm looking at the Dodgers bats. And I don't think that shouldn't be a surprise. The Dodgers bats, I'm looking at Mookie Betts at the top. I would look at Freddie Freeman against lefty on lefty matchup, 354 batting average. Chris Taylor, he was out yesterday. I would look at him. James Outman had a home run yesterday. I would look at him. Max Muncy, tournament because he's not very good lefty on lefty. Will Smith, he had a home run yesterday. If he's in, I like him. JD Martinez is the one that he's on the IL, or have they put him on the IL yet? No, he's only been day-to-day. He's not expected to play. So JD Martinez is probably out there. So, yeah, I would definitely be looking at a stack of the Dodgers. Probably my number one stack of the day, maybe second stack, be Freeman, Taylor if he's in, Outman, Will Smith, and Mookie Betts would be the bats that I would look at. So I'm looking at Urias for pitching. I'm not looking at Colorado bats, and I'm looking at the Dodgers as a stack. Padres at the Diamondbacks is the next game. You got Seth Lugo versus Brandon Pfaadt. Lugo here, 46 plate appearances, 174. Pfaadt has never faced them before. Pfaadt has never faced them before. I didn't mean to do that. So looking at this, they're right next to each other. The pricing here is really weird for this slate. Lugo, though, against the Dodgers. I mean, it's the Dodgers. Minus 10.5. Absolutely destroyed in 3.1 innings. Had a good game against Colorado. Had a good game against Pittsburgh and Detroit. Games that he should have had good games in. Splits-wise, he's faced Arizona once this year. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 17.3 fantasy points. If he could replicate pretty much that number right there, I'm okay with. But Arizona, this ballpark, does give up some extra base hits. Might not be the best for home runs, but does give up extra base hits. So I don't mind Seth Lugo here. Away games, he's got a better ERA away and one more start. So that's a plus there. Then we look at Brandon Pfaadt here. I believe we used him in his last start against the Dodgers as a very tournament option. No, we used him against San Francisco because it was in San Francisco, which is a pitcher's park, and he came through for us. We did not use him against the Dodgers. Had 26 fantasy points there. His best outing of the year, I believe. Yeah, his best outing of the year. Splits-wise, at home, he's got a double 8.65 ERA. Probably not using him at all. I doubt I use either of these pitchers, though. I'm probably looking at the offenses. So let's take a look at both San Diego and Arizona against right-handed pitching. And I think if you've been with us for a while, you kind of know who we like. But we will definitely, let's just go San Diego or Arizona first. Corbin Carroll, absolutely love Corbin Carroll almost every single day. I would use him. Perdomo, I would use. Christian Walker had a massive home run yesterday. I would use him. Ketel Marte I would use, who's kind of struggled lately, but I would still use him. And I'd also use Gurriel Jr. here. So then if you want to look at San Diego bats, because if you're not going to use these pitchers, Juan Soto, 426 OBP against righties, 980 OPS, I would use him. Tatis, I would use. Machado for a little bit, maybe. I would look at Trent Grisham for tournaments. I would look at Kim. I would use Cronenworth, which we used him on Thursday or Friday, and he absolutely came through for us. I'd also use Xander Bogaerts there as well. So I'm leaning more towards a San Diego. I'm not using either pitcher. I kind of like both of these offenses, though. So looking at this, I'm not using pitching. I would use both offenses. I kind of like San Diego just a little bit more, but I'll still have an Arizona stack as well. Then we got the Kyle Bradish Baltimore Orioles versus Bryce Miller and the Seattle Mariners as the final game on the slate. Bradish against the Mariners, 39 plate appearances, 216, where Bryce Miller, 18 plate appearances, 400 batting average. So looking at this, Kyle Bradish, third highest priced pitcher on the slate. Game log, okay game against the Mets. Good game against Toronto. Like I said, Toronto strikes out a ton against righties lately. Really good game against Miami. Splits-wise, has faced Seattle once this year, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks, 27.4 fantasy points. Seattle's offense has been sputtering this year. For whatever reason. They just don't look good. They haven't looked good for a while. I would use Bradish in this one. Then we use Bryce Miller. I don't know if I'd use Bryce Miller. Just the fact that how good they are. He had a really good game against the Angels, 26.3, but he's had some stinkers as well. Game logs, he's faced Baltimore once this year, 4.1 innings, 3 earned runs, 4 Ks, only 6.4 fantasy points because he also walked 3. So I would use Baltimore bats here. We don't even really need to look at the bats for Baltimore. I would be inclined to use Santander, Adley, Gunnar Henderson if he starts. I believe Gunnar was out on Saturday, so kind of watch to see if he's even going to be in. I would use those bats there. Austin Hayes, I don't mind. Those are the bats that I would use. So in this matchup, I would use Kyle Bradish here over Miller. 8,600, I don't mind him. And then I would use the Baltimore bats. I would not use Miller, and there's no real Seattle bats that I would use. As you can see, the offense really didn't show up yesterday either. So I would use Bradish and Orioles bats. And then this game right here, it's the Sunday night baseball game. You can't play. It's a single game only. Obviously, the Mets have looked absolutely terrible. They got humiliated. I think it was 21-3 on Saturday in the first game. I would absolutely use, if you're doing single game, Yanni Chirinos, probably not captain or MVP, but I would throw him in there. But I'd also use all of the bats. Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies. I don't think I need to tell you any of the Braves bats. Everyone knows the Braves are the best team in baseball right now. I would be using those. Pretty much take your pick, but you're going to have to get very creative, and it's going to be hard to use all of those bats. But Matt Olson leading the MLB with 41 or 42 home runs. There's nothing I like about Kodai Senga in this one. There's nothing I like about the Mets bats. 100% all in on the Braves bats. Just got to depend. If you're playing the single game, got to depend and wait all day for the lineup to come out. But yeah, Albies, Olson, Acuna, Arcia, Riley, it really doesn't matter. Pick and choose which bats you are looking for. So that is the breakdown of all the pitching and bats. Now we are going to go over our simulations. We've gone through 2,000 simulations. These are the top 10 pitchers and top 10 bats so far. So about 11 a.m. Central, we will throw out the we'll have it simulated 10,000 times just to let you guys know. So the top 10 so far that it likes is Mookie Betts against Freeland, Shohei Ohtani against Urquidy, Zach Gelof against Trevor Williams, Ronald Acuna against Senga, Riley Green against Crawford, Freddie Freeman against Freeland, Ellie De La Cruz against Keller, Rafael Devers against Erod, Justin Turner against Erod, and Torkelson against Crawford. And then pitching so far, Zach Eflin, Freddie Peralta, Logan Webb, Tanner Bibby, Kodai Senga. I'm not using him. I don't like that. Julio Urias, Garrett Cole, Yuri Perez, Bryce Miller, and Sonny Gray. Those are the current ones. It will change, so definitely check that out. But that is what it has spit out so far It will change. So go check out FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. And just thank you for checking this video out. I'm sorry the video got out later than normal. I was sick yesterday, so I went to bed very early. So back at it today. And if you like this video, like it, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not. And we will be back bright and ready for Monday's slate. Good luck to everyone. Let's bring home some bacon today. Peace.